Geometry, E.5 Equations of Parallel and Perpendicular Lines. This is the last lesson of Unit E. Yay! Okay, then we're going to go on to Unit F. So, let's get busy. To find equations. So on E5 we just found slopes. On E6 we're going to do slopes, but also equations. And wrote down a few important things. You need 2 of 3 things if you're going to write an equation of a line. One of them will always be something that it's not going to give me. Okay. Slope. Slope. You must have a slope, whether it be one way or the other. I'm going to get you. Okay, again, now it's 3:09 in the morning, and I'm starting to feel it, but I need to get this stuff done, so I may be a little bit loopy. One of them must be the slope. If you're going to find an equation of a line, then the other could either be the y-intercept, which is your B, right? B is the y-intercept. Or it could be a point, which is your x, y. It's going to make a little bit better sense in one moment. The equation for line U can be written as y equals -1/2x minus 6. So U is this equation. I'm going to tell you right now, every single time, whether it's going to be in IXL, if we had a textbook, or you're taking the ACT, if you do these problems enough, you're going to figure out that that first sentence, well, that first sentence because of this word right here, the only thing you need from that first sentence is the slope. The -6 has nothing to do with the problem whatsoever. Okay? So I'm just going to pause. And I'm going to write the slope of U. What's the slope? Well, it's in y equals mx plus b form, right? So the slope is -1/2. The slope of U is -1/2. V is parallel to U. So if U's slope is -1/2, then what's the slope of V? -1/2. Now, like I said, I've done these forever and ever and ever. Once you find the slope of the line that you're looking for, do not worry about that anymore. Okay? It just so happened that that's what we're using because it's parallel. But our other information, line V is parallel to line U. Okay, check. And passes through the, what? What is this? This is a point. Okay? Now, if they give me a point, which they did, and I now know the slope, and we want the equation of a line, I'm going to use point-slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. But I cannot forget that it says write the equation in slope-intercept form. So at the end, I must make sure I have a y equals. Now on this one, I'm going to alternate back and forth from point-slope form and slope-intercept form, bada bing, bada boom, because I'd like for you to experience point-slope form, but if you must just do it in y equals mx plus b form, I understand. Okay, so back to the problem. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. We're going to change some colors. No, I wanted the green first. So the green was our slope, so I know that's going to be -1/2. Point. And that's our first x, so that's going to go right there. And that's our first y. So y minus y1, we did this in E4, I believe. So y minus 4, because we take the opposite, equals negative 1 over 2, keep the x, then minus 8. Okay, if this says write the equation in point-slope form, we'd be finished, but it doesn't. It says slope-intercept. So what we need to do, we need to get rid of the parentheses. We're going to keep this side the same for just a second. Negative 1 over 2 times x is negative 1 over 2x. Then, negative times a negative is a positive. 1 over 2 times 8 is just saying take half of 8. Half of 8 is 4. Now to get it into y equals mx plus b form, you guys can infer what I'm trying to write down there. Okay, we need to get y by itself. To get y by itself, we're going to take this negative 4 and add it to this other side, which happens to be a 4 there too, and our answer would be negative 1x, and 4 plus 4 is 8. 8. Like I said, these questions are basically the same over and over and over. You automatically find the slope of the equation that it gives you. So the slope of r is 7. S is perpendicular. So S's slope is negative 1 over 7. You are finished with the 7. We are going to use the negative 1 over 7. Here's a point. Okay, I said I was going to alternate back and forth, and all of these on E6 is slope-intercept. So even if you use point-slope form to be able to start the problem, make sure that you end the answer in y equals mx plus b form. So I'm going to use y equals mx plus b form just for the ones that need to see it again. And colors. If it's y equals mx plus b, here's your m. That's your y. Nope, different color. That's your x. So we have 4 letters. We know 3 of them. We're going to do some math to be able to get the other one. So negative 1 equals negative 1 over 7 times negative 7 plus b. Negative 1 over 7 times negative 7. A negative times a negative is a positive. And when it says 1 over 7 times 7, that's just saying take 7 divided by 7, which is 1. To get b by itself, we're going to subtract that 1. Negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. So our b is 2. If our b is negative 2. If our b is negative 2 and our slope is negative 1 over 7, then our answer is y equals negative 1 over 7x minus 2. G has an equation. So slope G is negative 5 over 3. Perpendicular is h. So the slope of h is positive 3 over 5. So we are finished with the negative 5 over 3. Goes through this point. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to alternate y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus our first y is 10 equals our slope is 3 over 5. Always parentheses, always x, minus our first x, which is 5. Y minus, just trying to give myself a little bit more room, y minus 10 equals, now, well, okay, so you're going to take this 3 over 5 and you're going to distribute it. Okay, that's still way too big. You're going to distribute it. So 3 over 5 times x is 3 over 5x. But then we have 3 over 5 times negative 5. Well, 3 over 5 is positive, 5 is negative, so positive times a negative is a negative. Now, you can grab a calculator and put 3 over 5 times 5, and you'd get an answer. Or, because this 5, yeah, let's see what this is. This 5 right here, it's on bottom. Anything that's on bottom means divide. So, what we've been doing the past 2 problems is whenever we have the number on bottom, what are we doing by the number on bottom? We're dividing. So, 5, well, 5 goes into 5 how many times? 1. But that would just be 1/5. There's 3 of them here. So, if you have 3 ones, then you have 3. Okay? Or 3 over 5 times 5. You can put that on over 1. And multiplying fractions is no problem. Top times top and bottom times bottom. 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times 1 is 5. And 15 over 5 is 3. See? We can do math without calculators. Then, we need y equals, which means that we're going to take the negative 10 and put it over here with a 3. So negative 3 over 5x plus 7. Equation of line G is, well, so the slope of G is 3 over 7. Check. H is perpendicular, so the slope of H is negative 7 over 3. We are finished with that. Check. We have this one, so I'll go back to the y equals mx plus b one. So y equals mx plus b. And do some colors. Here's our m. Here's our m. Here's y. Ooh, here's y. Here, oh, no. We undo. And pull up. And here, oh, and here's our x. And here's our x. So what's y? Negative 2. M, negative 7 over 3. X, 2. Oh, y'all aren't going to like this one. And we don't know b. But I don't like the way I wrote it. B. Okay. Bring it up. Negative 2 equals, again, well, 3 doesn't go into 2, does it? So I'm going to put that over 1. And I'm going to multiply. How do we multiply? Multiplying fractions is no problem. Top times top and bottom times bottom. So it's going to be negative. 7 times 2 is 14. 3 times 1 is 3. And 3 does not go into 14. 14 over 3 does not reduce. Do not put 14 over 3 as a mixed number. After Algebra 1, mixed numbers become obsolete. We don't really use them anymore. The reason for that is if you didn't have a calculator, the operations for being able to put two numbers together, multiplying, dividing, and stuff like that, if you have fractions, is so much easier if you don't have them in mixed numbers. The more math you take, you'll figure it out. It just doesn't, you kind of get used to not putting it into mixed numbers. Okay, so bring the plus 3, or the plus b down. So we got to get b by itself. So we're going to add, I'm going to change colors here because it's getting kind of squished. 14 over 3. Again, you can grab a calculator. So what I'm doing is negative 2 plus 14 over 3. To add or subtract fractions, you must have a common denominator. So I put 2 over 1. The common denominator between 1 and 3 is 3. So what number's on top of 3 to be the same thing as negative 2? Negative 6. Keep the denominator. 14 minus 6 is 8. That is our new b. So if m is this and b is that, then what is our answer? Y equals negative 7 over 3x plus 8 over 3. Again, if you had a calculator, you wouldn't need to tax your brain so much. Line K has an equation that is not in slope-intercept form, but that doesn't matter because the only thing that we need to take away from that is the slope. Do we know what the slope is right now? Yes, we do, because that is the spot where the slope is. So the slope of K is negative 1 over 8. L is parallel. So what's the slope of L? Negative 1 over 8. We're finished with that, and we're finished with that. I just found B on the last one, didn't I? Okay, so we're going to use point slope form again. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus 3 equals negative 1 over 8. X, now watch, we always bring the minus sign down, but what is x? A negative 6. And if I put a negative 6 right next to the negative, what happens? Plus 6. Y minus 3 equals, distribute the negative 1 over 8. Negative 1 over 8 times x is negative 1 over 8. A negative times a positive is a negative, so you don't have to worry about that whenever you're multiplying. But if, so we're just going to do this. Oh, that is so not right. Multiplying fractions is no problem. Top times top and bottom times bottom, which makes 6 over 8. 6 over 8 reduces by 2. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 2 goes into 8 4 times. So 6 over 8 reduces to 3 over 4. We need to get y by itself. So we're bring the 3 over. I did not give myself enough space on this one. Okay. So now we need to do, I need to change colors to separate things. Now we need to do 3 over 4, shoot-a-munga. 3 over 4, that's just plumb nasty. Negative 3 over 4 plus 3 over 1. Common denominator is 4. That already has common denominator of 4, so that stays negative 3. What would be on top of 4 to be the same thing as 3? 12. And 12 minus 3 is 9 over 4. That is what this is. Okay? I was putting my like terms together. So my answer, hopefully you wrote a little bit smaller than what I did, is y equals negative 1 over 8x plus 9 over 4. Save the best one for last. Okay, so line G has an equation. Line G has an equation of y equals x plus 2. So what's the slope of G? 1. Okay, I'm done with that. We're perpendicular to G though. Now think about it. 1 is the same thing as 1 over 1, right? I'm writing that down because the perpendicular you always have to flip. So the slope of H, if G is positive, then H is negative. But what would we get if we flipped 1 over 1? 1 over 1. And 1 over 1 is the same thing as 1. So if G is 1, then H is negative 1 for perpendicularness. Or perpendicularity. Whatever. Okay, so we don't need this anymore. And we have that one. And y equals mx plus b. Y is 7. M is negative 1. X is negative 9 plus b. 7 equals negative 1 times negative 9 is 9 plus b. Take that 9, move it to the other side. B is negative 2. I'm going to use, what in the Sam Hill? Oh, that's so cool, but I don't know what it's doing. Come, here. I'm so close to being finished. Quit. Okay, so B is negative 2. Slope is negative 1. So the equation is y equals negative 1x minus 2. That is it. You are finished with Unit E.